Hey, hello there. Yeah, I don't ordinarily do this, but I made you a video telling you about my fishing trip and various things, but it was so incoherent. Incon I'm still there, I guess. I'm still in incoherent mode, but it was so bad that I can't subject you to that in good conscience. So, uh, yeah, I'll try to be a little briefer, perhaps, and use short monosyllabic sentences, which is an oxymoron in itself because monosyllabic is a $5 word. It's not a $10 word. But my voice is all jacked up because it's something extremely stupid, and it did not involve another dude with a giant cock. It actually involved me. I know I'm not supposed to do this, but I had a good day fishing, and I forgot. I felt like a human being for a little while. So I was just so tired, but I was starving because I gave my sandwich away. I brought a sandwich. I brought a apple pie. I brought a squeeze tube of fruit smoothie and a thing of juice with me fishing, but I wasn't hungry. I told my brother, I brought you some stuff. I'm like, you can have that sandwich later. But I said that when I wasn't hungry, but I got hungry later. So I'm smelling him eating this delicious turkey sandwich in the back, and I'm like, man, this man of your word shit. No takebacks. My brother was like a hungry dog anyway. I might have got bit if I tried to get that sandwich off him, but man, won that sandwich. But anyways, um, I don't know what kind of nonsense I'm even saying right now. I'm in a tremendous amount of pain. I'm extremely sober uh, because I haven't taken any pills for a long time, but I'm just racked up and miserable. And hopefully, yeah, I just couldn't put that other video up. I'm also making a shit video now. I'm just realizing, okay, I'm gonna pretend like the proceeding never happened. I don't. I think I said something about sucking a giant cock, and that's not why my throat is sore. And I was trying to tell you basically that I know I can't eat before I go to sleep, but I was so tired, and I had these cupcakes. I had three of them. I gave one of them to my brother who was eating my sandwich, and that's why I was so hungry on the way home. So I had these three cupcakes there. I was only going to eat one of them, and I had like two of these fruit smoothie packets. It's kind of like applesauce, but it's made out of pumpkin and carrots and all kind of stuff that goes really good with cupcakes. So like I ate all of it, and I'm so tired. Like I'm trying to write on the computer, and I passed out and put my finger on the E, and I printed up about 75 E's before I woke up, and then I had to backspace all the E's. So yeah, shut up, stomach. You're not helping. So like I just eat three huge cupcakes just because I'm starving and I'm just falling asleep. I'm like, there's no way I can get myself like food, real food. So I don't even like sweets. So I'm eating these cupcakes, and then I eat two of the smoothie packets, and then spend like the next 3 hours vomiting. It wasn't like normal vomiting, where like okay, where you get nausea and you're sick, like when you have the flu, which I haven't had for 10 years, the puking flu. It's just like my stomach was rejecting the food in my belly on a legal technicality. So it was like polite about it, which I wish it wasn't polite because that means I threw up like over and over and over again, man. And that's why my voice is bad. It's my throat's all torn up. This happened like less than 48 hours ago, and it was freaking horrible. I mean, it had to be like a half a dozen times, man. Twice in the wastebasket, and then in the sink, and then like I had taken six Neurontin. I'm not used to that because of the fishing trip. And yeah, I'm trying to take Pepto-Bismol, and all that means is it just changed the color scheme, and it didn't help. Nothing was helping. And I was like, please God, let this end. I'm exhausted. I was so tired too, man. But I don't want to die. I don't want to go out like Jimi Hendrix. Um, Enough said. If you don't get the reference, it can't help you. But anyways, or Bon Scott. Anyways, at some point, my stomach was finally appeased. But I was just, please God, make this stop. It's just horrible. Um, but anyways, that was the bad part of the day. Let's get to the good part. So I was fooled by the sun. I thought it was going to be warm out or something like that. It was not warm out at all. So I wore this like jokey, paper thin novelty shirt that looks like you're wearing a suit. It's got a fake tie and stuff, but it's just an all one piece thing. It even has fake buttons on it, but it's basically like a t-shirt with long sleeve that's look like a suit. So I decided to wear that to make my two friends laugh, and they were just like, well, that's, one guy was just confused. Another guy laughed at it, and I didn't wear a flannel, but I knew I needed a coat, so I had that on, and I had a coat, but it wasn't enough, man. The wind was just insane, and it was like 55 degrees, but it felt a lot colder. It might have been, we're in the country, so it might have been 50 degrees with the wind whipping, I don't know. But the official high was supposed to be 59, but when you're out in the country, it's colder, and that's out in the country. So we come to the part where they have to load up the scooter into the back of his SUV. I'm telling these guys, look, man, you can take the seat off. The seat got to weigh like 40 pounds. It's You can take the seat off. It folds down. It'll be easier to pick up. Blah blah blah. And they're like, nah, no problem. We'll get it in there. I made them make mistake of telling them it's not too heavy. It's just because I can lift it and move it. I'm not taking it completely off the ground. I'm just like, it's like I can lift like 100 pounds if it's on a barbell, and like, cause I can just lift one end of it. That doesn't mean you're lifting 100 pounds. So I should have consulted the manual. I thought the manual said it weighed 125 pounds. I figure that's not too much for two full-grown, fairly strong dudes to lift, but they didn't disassemble it. So they had trouble getting it up into the thing, and then because they didn't disassemble it like I suggested and fold it up, it wouldn't fit. So they were like, well, what do we do now? And they're like, pull it back out, and like, I think I can fold the front piece down a little bit. They were doing it mid, like, back straining, what I was suggesting, and it's got like a little turn handle. That's why I'm making that gesture, and then you can drop the handlebars back a little bit, and they got it in there. And I wasn't as nervous as I thought I was gonna be, because I told the guy, like, that's the first time I've been in a car since for 5 months. I haven't been in the car, and he was thinking he was going to have to, because I was out there with the walker, he was thinking he was going to have to help me. He was actually demonstrating, like, here's how my mom would get in the car. Like, I needed help getting in the car. And, I just, he had a handlebar there, so I just grabbed the handlebar and threw myself in the car. And he's like, oh, okay, well, that was easy. But he was thinking he was going to have to help me into the car and stuff. But I wasn't that nervous. Like I said, I tried to say, I'm going to try to be more coherent here, but my brain is just bad. Brain no good. So, 3 gabapentin, blood pressure pill, 5 milligrams of volume. Blood pressure pill is a must because I got to watch my heart rate. The gabapentin I was already in a lot of pain, and I had taken that in the morning before I made the last video that I made on here. So, I'll try to be brief here. We had a nice conversation there. It's like a 45-minute ride. I didn't even have to bring the scooter. If I had only known, because I'm pretty sure that my 67-year-old friend hurt his back lifting it. Because he actually said my back hurts, but he didn't blame it on the scooter. It's like, man, my back kind of hurts, and kind of back trouble. I'm like, yeah, because you wouldn't listen to me. Thinking to myself. But anyways, I can stop with this tangential thing. That's what's causing me the problems. Um, he just didn't park in the parking lot. He just come out across this field right off the road and like drove like right up to the water. And I'm like, well, I got the walker. It's like somebody's yard. It's all cut down right up to the water. It's like, I didn't really need the scooter. Just needed a chair. The scooter was, because I thought we was going to park in the parking lot, and it's like 100 yards or whatever to get to the water. And then, as far as like fishing, I just thought I needed it, but, I figured better safe than sorry, but it wasn't too safe for my friend's back. So they left it out and stuff, and, I'm on it, and I'm like, he's like, you ought to go over there, and I'm like, I can't trust this scooter. It doesn't seem to be working right. It says it has a full charge, but I haven't charged it up for ever. And it's like, it's reading out that it has a full charge, but it's like it got no power. And, I just didn't have the throttle up. The throttle was turned all the way down for some reason. Why the throttle would need to be turned all the way down on a scooter that tops out at 4 to 5 miles an hour, I don't know, but it was just all the way down. And so I'm just being an idiot, just I'm like, I was like, this thing's dying or something. And then I didn't realize until later that okay, a little irritable. Listen to this guy like dragging, banging these garbage cans around out there. I don't know if I can do a third attempt at this, man. I'm a mess. I'm not well. So we'll just make this short and unamusing because, yeah, I need drugs apparently. Because I am sober as a church mouse right now, and it's not working as far as mental coherence. Anyways, so I'm on the scooter. I'm riding it around. I realize it doesn't have power. So I ride up to my brother, and when I realize it, and I'm like, "Oh, you gotta be kidding me, man! I just didn't turn the throttle up on it." He's like, "What?" And I said, "It's got a little throttle on it, and it's like it's got a turtle for slow, and then it's got an arrow going over to a rabbit for fast." And he looked at me and he says, "You just couldn't crack that code, could you?" And that dude's good. He's snide bastard. I gotta give it to you. He's good. And I was like, so I open it up a little bit, and I'm able to truck around a little better around the pond. I'm fishing. Um, I'm actually having a good time, to my surprise. And I'm out in it looks like somebody's yard with a pond in it, and there's a house back there about 100, 150 yards, but there's no sound of traffic or nothing like that. Or it's really out in the country, and there it is. The water was beautiful and clear, and I caught 4 largemouth bass, no keepers, like 3, like 2 10-inch ones, maybe an 8-inch one, and a little baby 4-inch one that buried itself in the weeds. And like, I thought I had something good on there. I was hoping to have something good on there. So I pulled him out of the weeds, and I pulled so hard on the fishing rod that he come flying out of the water, hit the bank head first, then bounced back in the water. And my friend laughed at me. And he's like, "Man, you bounced that fish off the bank. You might as well just pulled a little bit harder. You would have landed him." And I'm like, "Look at him. This fish is like that big." I'm like, "This is bait." Threw it back in the water. So I had like I was having a good time, and the fishing was very slow though, and those guys go fishing there all the time. So um, my brother, the fishing was slow, but my brother's like very good fisherman and also has good legs and is very determined, and that's what he likes to do. So he caught between 15, he said between 15 and 20 bass. And I watched him catch 8 while I was untangling my fishing line and wasn't even in the water. So yeah, he ain't lying. He probably caught closer to 20. Because I was like, dude, stop it. It's like, this is getting, I was like, I'm not even in the water. He's just pulling fish out. You know, he's far away, but his voice is Carrie. And, uh, and my friend's on the dock, and my brother's over there killing fish, and he's like, man, he's like, I feel like I'm stuck in neutral here, and I'm like, listen, man, at least you're on the court. I'm on the sidelines watching. Like I'm just sitting here untangling line. You're like, at least you got your line in the water, not catching any fish. I don't even have my line in the water. But this dude's over here pulling fish out after fish out of the water. So he, you know, he had a good day, but not by his standards, because he was hoping to catch something big. He caught like 4 or 5 keeper basses, 12 inches around here. He caught one that was 16 inches that I helped him measure. That was like the biggest fish caught that day. I think my friend caught 2 keeper bass, and like he probably caught like 6 to 8 fish. I caught 4, all largemouth bass. But the highlight of the day was I got this funny idea in my head, and like my brother did not spend a lot of time with me, oddly enough. He's just that when he fishes, he's there to fish. He ain't there to have conversations. So he's like way down the way, and I'm on that scooter. You can go like right next to the water, because it's like I said, it's like somebody's lawn that there's just happens to be a farm pond in. You can go like right to the edge of the water. So I'm riding along the edge of the water with this scooter in turtle mode, and I casted like far out in the middle, and I just kept it straight and was like rolling towards him, and I held the rod out like, well, picture my arm like straight out with a 9-foot rod attached to it. And so I'm just like got my arm out like this, and I've got my hand on the throttle and stuff, and I roll up to him, and right as I get his attention, I said, look, man, I'm trolling. And right then a fish hit. I hooked the fish. Like, hey man, I got something. And I let go of the throttle, and I jerk forward a little bit like you always do, and I start reeling in this fish. We both think it's something big. Turned out to be like a 10-inch bass, and we both saw it. I got it like right up the shore, and then it spit the hook before I could officially catch it. And I was laughing my ass off. I was like, man, I got to be like the only person that ever successfully troll a fish from a scooter. Because in case you don't know fishing, trolling is when you get the boat going and you just leave your line in the water and your rod out. And that's, you're instead of casting and reeling, you're letting the boat do the job of the reel. So you're just dragging the lure through the water, and I was doing it with a CRIPPLE scooter. Now, whether I'm the first person to do that or not, I don't know, but the idea came into my head and it amused me. So that's also where the phrase trolling comes from for the internet, in case you didn't know that. That's why my name is the perfect troll name, because it's pork frog, and pork frog is something that goes on the end of a fishing lure, and the expression trolling comes from people that troll, they're just fishing. They're fishing for somebody to bite on their comment to get a reply. That's the only purpose of trolling. Somebody is to annoy people and trick them into thinking that you're serious, or just basically to get a response. Just like you're tricking a fish with a fishing lure. So, anyways, that was I was going to play the same joke, like going the other way back toward my friend that I played on my brother. But he started walking toward me right before I got started, or as I got started, so it wasn't apparent what I was doing. I was like, oh man, you ruined my joke. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, I just trolled a fish on a scooter. He's like, what? And I was like, yeah, I just rode the scooter along the bank and held the fishing rod out, and I caught a fish that way. And he was like, seriously? I was like, yeah. He didn't laugh that hard, and I think he was suffering. Honestly, I think he was walking like bent forward. I think he was not feeling well physically and trying to hide it. And yeah, whether he was walking bent forward like that because he had struggled with that scooter, or he already had a problem before that, I don't know. I don't know if he'd tell me, 'cause he wouldn't want me to feel bad. But he wanted to go. I came back and I said, I don't know how long we were there because I was losing. I was just glad to be outside. I was losing track of time and stuff. But I know they don't stay very long. It's a small pond. The fishing's slow. They've already walked around it, a few times. And I'm like, yeah, man, we can go when you want to, if you're ready. And he said, yeah, I've been ready for a while. He said, I just figured you don't get out much. So, and I was thinking, don't get out much. I was like, I haven't been fishing in 3 years. It's the first time I've been out of the house in 5 months. Yeah, I don't get out much. So, yeah, he was just kind of hanging around for my sake. He had played something called pickleball, which, you know, weird sport, doesn't involve, pickle is not a phallic reference, so it's nothing weird. It does have pickle and ball in it, pickleball. Yeah, that sounds like something they might play in the pickle park. But anyways, it has something to do with rackets and a court. But he was playing that in the morning, so he was yawning on the way home when we were driving. Nobody kept any fish or anything like that. But I gave away my sandwich to my brother before I got hungry, and then I had to smell him eating it in the back seat on the way home. And I was like, damn it, why do I have to be honorable? I was like, I want that sandwich. I'm hungry. And that's why I ate all those cupcakes and made myself sick and had a miserable night, is because I told my brother, I got some stuff for you. He's like, what'd you bring? He's like, oh, I brought an apple pie. I brought a chicken sub. It's great. And a smoothie of like pumpkin, carrot, and apple or something. He's like, oh, that's weird. And I brought a container of juice, and he's chugging the juice. He ate my sandwich on the way home when I was hungry, but I was afraid to reach back there and try to get it off him, or I might get bit. Like, dude was eating that thing like a hungry dog. And he did catch the most fish, so technically, by the laws of nature and the rules of fishing, he does, the big dog eats. So, um, yeah, we get home and I just give him like, I clean out my freezer of all the stuff that I can't eat because I don't have any teeth. I've been wanting to give away to people for years, so we got a bunch of stuff, like 2 boxes worth of food. I gave him a gallon of milk, and I gave him like 2 loaves of bread, a whole bunch of real butter, like, I don't know, like 10 sticks of it, and peanut butter. It's like a bunch of miscellaneous stuff that I don't eat. And it's like, man, it's good to get rid of that stuff finally. Maybe somebody put it to some use. And it freezer was getting crowded with all that stuff and whatnot. But he's funny, man. He's like, I'm like looking through the juices as I'm assembling these boxes of food for him, and I'm like, oh, that one's expired, and I threw it on the ground. He said, what are you doing? And I'm like, it's expired. And he goes, man, put that back in the box. I like to roll the dice. I'm like, I'm like, ain't you had food poisoning enough? And he goes, man, you never know. He gets food poisoning all the time. He's like, I like to roll the dice and take my chances. So, I was like, okay, you want to drink expired juice, man, that's on you, whatever. And, yeah, but he's always a funny guy. Um, so, one thing that I did that was bad, like I said, I took 6 gabapentin because I took 3, and then I started to hurt while I was there. Because the way that scooter is like, you spin the seat around. You're okay when you got your feet on the floorboards, when you got something to put your feet on. But when you swirl it around, seat around facing the water, your feet are dangling. So I'm just sitting there, fishing happily away. And meanwhile, my feet are falling asleep, and then, my legs are starting to hurt, and I have to stop, put the fishing rod down, and like get up and like try to get circulation going back in my legs and stuff. One thing this when my brother called me before we won, I was like, I want to use the mooching rod. I want to mooch the mooching. He's like, what? I'm like, I want to mooch the mooching rod. And he's like, okay. I bought him this thing like 2 years ago for salmon and steelhead. That's why I was fishing with a 9 foot rod. It's called a mooching rod, and I think it's called that because like it has this like your reel sitting here, and the hand it's got a handle piece past the reel all the way up here, so you can grab a hold of that handle while you're fighting the fish, put the butt of it against your stomach or your side or whatever, and reel. You get leverage that way. I think that's why it's called a mooching rod. I don't know, but I had bought it for him in 2019, and I have never seen it before. So I wanted to fish with it, and I was like, wow, I was impressed with the quality of it. I was like, man, I got a killer deal on it. One of those blemish returns. I say, you find anything wrong with it? Because it's a returned item. It was a weird company. It was just a flyer that I took. You know, it's like I like to be nice to my brother. I was like, man, you earned this fishing rod because he caught like 3 different species. He caught a brown trout, a rainbow trout, steelhead, and a lake trout on the same trip. He just needed a salmon to like complete the forfecta. Yeah. So yeah, he just needed the salmon. He couldn't get the salmon part of it. And I'm like, oh, you earned that fishing rod, man. You pulled off the trifecta. I love my brother, man. So even though, even though like some of the things I say about him are not particularly, I can't help it, man. I still love my dad. It's like love is a weird thing because you can love somebody and not like them at all, or you can love somebody and just like recognize that they're evil bastards, like my father. Like why do I have love for my father? That doesn't even make any sense. Like dude, like basically turned me into a neurotic mess. Never taught me anything. Still love my father. You know, dude never told me that he loved me my entire life. I told him that I loved him once, and he looked like he wanted to vomit. All the blood drained out of his face. And yeah, and I gave him a hug, and he didn't hug me back. I was like, I love you, and I gave him a hug. Like, this is how normal people act. You know, this is how normal people act with their children. I just, thought you might like to try it. I was like 20, yeah, I was 21 or 22 years old the first time I told my father I loved him and hugged him, and he never did either of those things to me. So yeah, so love is a funny thing. I love my brother, so I always try to, just do little things for him like that, you know. And anyways, so it was a good day and stuff. But on the way home, they're like, "You think you can go fishing in a boat?" I don't know if they enjoyed having me along or whatever. And I'm like, dude, I'm just trying to survive the trip. I'm like high as fuck on like 6 gabapentin, and I'm sore and hurting, and you're wanting me to think about like whether I can go fishing on a boat. You sitting in a boat, you're not. My legs don't bend too well when you sit in a boat. You generally have to bend your legs quite a bit. I'm like, I'd have to have like room to have one leg like poking my bad leg like poking straight out. And then you're bouncing up and down on the waves and shit. He's talking about like a 15-foot bass boat. And he's like, I could get like a seat, and he's making all these plans and stuff about taking fishing in a boat. I'm like, man, just get me home. Get me home. I got a whole night of puking ahead of me. He's like, that's all I'm thinking about. I was exhausted and hurting and shit. And he's like, you think you can go like, we could take you to like Mosquito, and I think you can get down on that causeway, and they're making all these plans for me. And I'm like, I just wanted to see if I could go fishing today, man. It's like, I don't know what I can do. My response was, I don't know. I don't know if I can like do that because I don't want to ruin the fishing trip for you guys. Because every place that we fish, we have to travel a great distance. I'll apologize now for my voice, but you know now why my voice is all tore up, even more than usual, because of stomach acids. And I thought you might like to hear what it was like to to troll on a cripple scooter. That was funny as hell though, because right when I said, "Man, I'm trolling," and made my joke, boom, a fish hit. I was like, "Man, couldn't have planned that out more perfectly." And then I hooked the fish. It's crazy. Um, I don't really have much else to talk about, and I'm not good at talking this morning anyway. Um, I will mention that VPA is going to send somebody in here tomorrow to look at me, a nurse practitioner, and I also talked to somebody from that's in charge of the aid workers. She called me on Saturday for some reason at 6:30 at night. Whatever. But she's like, "It's time for your review," and she asks you some questions about your aid workers' performance and whatnot. You know, they're more or less checking up on the aid workers more than checking up on you. And anyways, so I got to be up bright and early tomorrow. But those are the people that I was trying to think of that are below a doctor as a nurse practitioner. I don't even know what that is, or what that means. Uh, I still don't know what unintentional murder means, or how that's possibly even a legal phrase. I did write down something here on a piece of gum paper that to remind me of the many things that I don't know. But yeah, been a very bad teller story. Mm-hmm. Yeah, my brain is turning to shit. Uh, yeah. Okay, oatmeal head, try this again. It says triage story. Now, when I was telling the story of the guy that, you know, the kid that I was in the hospital with, my first time in the hospital, when after the he had abdominal surgery, and like 2 days after coming out of the general anesthetic, this motherfucker was on the floor doing push-ups. It's like, so he tore his stitches. Uh, and then he goes and robs the cart, and doctors himself up and does a little like in the field combat triage thing with it, where he's blotting the blood and getting it to clot, and like he's got iodine swabs. He knew what he was doing. He's got the iodine swabs. He watched them change bandages on him before from his many surgeries prior, and he deliberately shut the door to our room in the hospital. And I think he was facing me, sitting away from the door, and I think his plan was like if anybody popped in there while he was operating on himself, uh, he was just gonna dive underneath the covers. He had the stuff on the bed and like hide everything. And he had it all planned out. He's an old hand at getting surgeries. The reason why he was doing all that, because you think, you're bleeding and you got a problem like that. You're in a hospital. It's kind of what you want to do is ask those people to help you. No, he wanted to do all that shit himself because he was not going to stay in that hospital 1 minute longer than necessary. So, I did not tell you the reason why he did that. He was not an insane person, even though he did push ups 2 days after surgery. He was somebody that had a lot of surgeries before at a young age and hated hospitals and hated doctors and didn't want anything to do with them, and did not want to spend a minute longer than necessary in the hospital. So I did not tell you the motivation behind that story. Now, my other correction that I need to make, as my throat feels like I'm gargling broken glass, is I said on a video that, my story is not going to end well. It's either going to end in a quick death by my own hand or natural causes. What I meant by that, to clear that up, was the natural causes would not be like a slow decline in the old age. Natural causes was going to be a stroke, it's going to be a heart attack, it's going to be an embolism, probably something related to my circulatory system. You know, so it's going to be a quick death as far as like I'm going to die of a heart attack or something like that. You know, heart failure or whatever. Though heart failure can be a slow process. So I meant it was going to be quick either way. It wasn't going to be like a slow decline. Even though I'm in the middle of a slow decline, it's like, yeah, well, I'll take myself out before I get to the point where, you know, I'm completely bedridden and have to be put in a nursing home and all that. So I thought I'd clear that up. That quick went for suicide or natural causes. See, now I had to learn what natural causes meant because my favorite boxer Marvin Hagler died, and all they would say about it is he died of natural causes because I don't know what it has to do, some kind of political thing or whatever. I don't know, but he is only 66 years old. Now, that is young to die of natural causes in this day and age. You know, that's not an old man, 66. That's in, you know, you might get Social Security and shit, but the average age that people live to in the United States is near 80. So it was a shock to everybody that Marvin Hagler, marvelous Marvin Hagler, died. But there was like a whole bunch of secrecy surrounding his death. All they would say about it was natural causes. And it's like, and then his wife was like, please respect our privacy when it comes to inquiries over my husband's death. Because natural causes basically means anything that happens inside your body. Unnatural causes are things that happen outside your body, like a bullet to the brain, or Jimmy the Fish killing you with an ice pick, or getting hit by a train, or falling out of a window, or any number of things, but it has to be external. Natural causes just means something happened to you from the inside. And like an OD, like a heroin OD, or is would be unnatural causes because people do not naturally stick needles in their arms and shoot themselves up full of dope. That is an unnatural act. So why is there the secrecy, I'm wondering, around the man's death? Why can't you say it was a heart attack? Don't they know? Why? And then I like even researched like autopsies are a matter of public record. Cause of death is a matter of public record. Why has it been 2 weeks and I don't know what my favorite boxer died of? The best I could piece together is TMZ said something about his son saying he was complaining about his heart. Well, then come out and say he had a heart attack. There ain't no shame in that. He wasn't sticking junk in his arm. You know, he didn't owe money to the mafia, and Jimmy the Fish came and paid him a visit. I mean, he didn't have a gambling problem. He wasn't in Dutch with the bookie. You know, nobody blew him up in a car. Just tell us what happened. How did he die? So, you know, see, he had the COVID vaccine, and 2 days later he died, and there was speculation by Tommy the Hitman Hearns, a contemporary boxer of his, that it had to do with a bad reaction to the COVID vaccine. And the family being his wife, wanted to quash that immediately or any speculation toward that end. But at the same time, they would not clear up why he died, and that is why I researched natural causes, because that's all they would tell me about it, and that's why I know what natural causes are. And so, anyways, that's about all I got for you. It's like, hopefully that was more coherent than the earlier mess. I know that like a certain amount of incoherence and stupidity is amusing from me, but that was just irritating, you know, or maybe it's me. I don't know. But I couldn't tell what the hell I was talking about. So if I can't tell, usually that's my judge. If I can't tell what I'm talking about, chances are you can't tell what I'm talking about. So, you know, I was like, this got it going. I mean, I don't I like to put up whatever, be as shameless as possible. But yeah, I am not putting this up. This is just, it's just gonna give people headaches. You know, life's full of enough headaches. Um, as I don't really have an appropriate ending here for you, other than to wish you a good couple of days until I talk to you again. Hopefully, my throat will, oh man, Jesus, I shouldn't even done that. My throat will heal up. You know, it's like I'm not going to go into that whole thing again. That's not good conversation material. But man, that was bad. And like I said, I'll talk to you in a few days, and hopefully those few days are kind to you before I talk to you again. Goodbye.